On.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Health meeting of March 7th. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify Chairman Beckley. Pursuant to Governor Baker's June 16th, 2021 signing of an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, including the extension of his March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, until April 1st, 2022, this meeting of the Chatham Board of Health is being conducted via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to the meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 508-945-4410 and use conference ID number 693-361-558#, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Channel 18, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. I turn the meeting over to Chairman Beckley.
Thank you, Judy. I'd like to start by establishing a roll call to establish a quorum. When I call your name, please indicate whether you're on the call. Dr. Noble Hanson.
Present.
Ron Broman.
Present.
Ed Sheehan.
Present.
Carol Boyce.
Present.
And I'm present. And then we have two alternates, Dr. Richard Edwards.
Present.
And Carol Gordon.
Present.
Oh, that's wonderful. We actually have extra people tonight if we need them. All right, let's start the agenda with item 1. This is a show cause hearing regarding an expired operation and maintenance contract for John and Shadria Riley at 41 Swift Lane. Judy, what's the current status of this?
John Riley should be on the line. I think he is here.
I am.
He's the owner of the property. So John, can you tell us what the status is?
I just got in contact just last week with J.M. O'Reilly Associates, and they're sending me a service contract, and they're coming to give me an estimate on fixing the system because it's broken.
Okay. So do you know how long it's gonna take for them to get your contract going?
He said it would be by this week.
Okay.
I'll call them, I'll get on them and get it done, hopefully by the end of the month, I would assume.
So John, maybe we should continue this to the next meeting?
I think that's prudent.
Yeah, I promise I'll have it fixed by then.
Okay, do we need a motion then to carry this to the next agenda?
Ed Sheehan. Approved.
Okay, Ed, you're going to make a motion that we continue this agenda item at the next meeting, true?
Correct.
Right, do I have a second?
Second. Ron Broman.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Okay, when I call your name, please indicate how you vote on the motion. Dr. Noble Hanson.
Accept.
Ron Broman.
Approve.
Ed Sheehan.
Yeah.
Carol Boyce.
Approve.
I vote to approve. Dr. Edwards.
Approve.
And Carol Gordon.
Approve.
Thank you. Judy, do you understand what the nature of the problem is with the system now? You need to get more information on that?
Yeah, John just told me today that the blower wasn't working, which I did not realize. I knew that they did not have a contract. So,
Okay.
so So that's what we were trying to get. And then obviously, if they have an operation and maintenance contract, they'll have to get the blower fixed at that time. So we'll
Okay.
see what John sends me in the next few weeks.
Okay, so they should both get resolved forthwith then.
Yes, hopefully.
Okay. Okay, let's go to item number 2. And, which is a continuance variance hearing and approval of IA technology for Marcia Ruddy at 18 Chatham Road. Now, this was an issue that we discussed at our last meeting. J.M. O'Reilly and Associates is representing the client. Judy, can you introduce what we have before us now?
Yes, we received a revised floor plan. They believe they opened up the entrance into the office area to a 5-foot cased opening, and they removed the shower in the bathroom. Is that correct, Matt? I gotta pull out the floor
I
plan.
think
Yes.
it's 6 foot. 6 foot
Yeah.
opening.
We
A
increased it from 5 feet to 6 feet.
Great.
Removed the shower and also removed the closet. And Marcy Ruddy, the owner and applicant, is also on the line on the call. She was not able to make it to the first hearing.
Okay.
So yeah, just back to the board. We really didn't want to remove the wall. It changes the whole feel of the upstairs, and so we made those concessions and/or revisions, and was just hoping to have a discussion with the board about the changes.
Okay. So what do board members think about the revision?
This is Richard Edwards. I was one of the ones that had a major concern the last time, and I think with a much smaller bathroom, no shower, and a 6-foot opening, I'd be willing to approve this the way it stands now. And in the approval, it will say this house will only have 3 bedrooms. Will only be able to be only 3 rooms will be able to be used as bedrooms. So, given this, I would be able to approve it where it stands now.
Thank you, Rich. Anyone else want to comment on the board?
Yeah, this is Noble. Yeah, I agree that the 6-foot cased opening, that goes along with what we've currently used to make a room not a bedroom. So I would go along with supporting what Dick said.
I agree. Any other board members want to comment?
No, it's Ron Broman. I think it's good now.
Okay. Sounds like we have a consensus. Can I get a motion to approve this IA technology application for 18 Chatham Drive as revised?
Noble,
Ed Sheehan approved.
Okay, Ed, you're making that motion. Do we have a second?
Noble second.
Okay.
John, would you like me to read the conditions?
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
The applicant should restrict the property to a maximum of 3 bedrooms and record this restriction on the deed at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds. The applicant shall submit a copy of the executed deed restriction to the Health Department. The applicant shall sign a covenant with the board agreeing to comply at such time as the town of Chatham, through its Board of Health and/or Water and Sewer Commissioners, directs the connection of this property to the municipal sewer when it becomes available and is so ordered to connect to the board by the Board of Health. This covenant and 3-bedroom deed restriction shall be recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, and a copy shall be submitted to the Board of Health. Throughout its life, the system shall be under an operation and maintenance agreement. The O&M agreement shall be for at least 1 year and may be with any mass certified operator of the appropriate grade that has received training by the company on the operation of the system. Effluent from the system shall be monitored at least twice per year for the first 2 years, preferably May and October. The effluent shall be field tested in accordance with Mass DEP standard conditions for secondary treatment units certified for general use, revised March 20th, 2015. In addition, a lab test of the effluent for total nitrogen should be made to meet the performance standards of 19 milligrams per liter and collected and analyzed by a certified lab. Water meter readings are also to be provided with a semi-annual report. If any of the field tests or lab tests fail, follow-up tests shall be conducted by a certified lab and an evaluation made by the operator within 30 days. After the required 2 years, testing application can be made to the board or their agent for review and possible modification of the monitoring requirements. The applicant agrees to apply a minimum of 6 inches of compacted topsoil to all disturbed areas of the property. The engineer shall submit an engineered as-built plan, including as-built elevations with a written certification that the system has been installed in accordance with the approved plan. No alteration to the floor plan of the dwelling or the engineer site plan will be allowed without further review by the Board of Health or its agent, and this variance will be granted pursuant to the State Environmental Code Title V and the Town of Chatham subsurface sewage regulations and is valid for 1 year from the date the Board of Health approval. A permit must be issued and work commenced during that 1 year period or the variance shall expire.
Thank you, Judy. Does anyone from the public wish to comment on this before the Board of Health votes? If
Richard,
not, when I call.
Richard, do you have your hand?
Judy.
I believe the last time we talked about this, there was an abutter that had comments, but I guess that person isn't here today. Is that correct?
Is anybody from the public or concerned abutter want to speak on this before the Board of Health votes? Okay.
Judy, Eddie Sheehan.
Yeah.
What about that well pit?
I'm sorry.
Is that just out and alone?
A well, is that what you said?
That's it?
Did you say a well, Ed?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna, it looks like the plan, and Matt, you can clarify this on the plan, that they're going to use that as an irrigation well?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
The house
Thank
will
you.
have town water.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to vote on the motion and the second. When I call your name, please indicate how you vote. Dr. Noble Hanson.
Approve.
Ron Broman.
Approve.
Ed Sheehan.
Approve.
Carol Boyce.
Approve.
I vote to approve. And Dr. Richard Edwards.
Approve.
Carol Gordon.
Approve.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Board of Health.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being responsive to our concerns. Okay, let's go with item number 3 on the agenda, which is a variance hearing and approval of IA Technology for K. Yazdanseta at 16 Blueberry Lane, and representing the applicant is Speakman Construction.
I believe Dan is in the meeting. Dan? You're muted, Dan, if you're trying to talk. If you're on the phone, Dan, yep, there you go.
You can hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so this is an existing 2-bedroom house that it's just been purchased with a new buyer, and he'd like to convert it to a 3-bedroom house. So the septic inspection has taken place, and the system is in good condition. So we want to leave the leaching system there, and we want to replace the septic tank with a new 1,500-gallon fast tank, and convert that to use the IA system. So, well, that's about as simple as it gets. I think we've submitted all the paperwork and so forth. You have the floor plans there on the site plan, and I think we also have the architect's floor plans. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
John,
Yes.
this is Judy. I just wanted to let you know that Dan did forward to me a detailed floor plan of the second floor. I think you only have what's on the site plan, which just is a hand-drawn sketch. It is the revised floor plan. The floor plans that they sent me show a 5-foot cased opening into that great room on the second floor.
What's
And-
that labeled? What's that labeled now? Oh, the great room. I'm with you now.
It's a great
Okay.
room. And then the other thing is that on the plans that you have, the house that's shown on the site plan, it actually shows a bedroom off the garage, but that's actually not a bedroom because you have to walk through it to get into the garage. So that's why they only have 2 existing bedrooms and they're adding a 3rd bedroom. They're getting rid of 1 bedroom on the first floor and they're adding 2 bedrooms on the second floor.
Now, Judy, the bedroom that you're saying we should cross off adjacent to the garage, that has its own bathroom right there.
Yeah, but you have to walk through it to get to the garage. It opens directly into the garage and that cannot be considered a bedroom. If a room opens directly into a garage, it's not
Okay, so
by building code standards, doesn't meet the requirements for a room for sleeping.
Okay, understood.
This is Richard Edwards. The plan that I see now, where the bedroom, the thing that was labeled bedroom behind the garage, now appears to be a laundry and like a set of open stairs. Is that what that is?
Yes.
Yes.
And then the other stairs are just go down to the basement.
Yes.
I believe-
That,
Yeah, I
okay.
believe
So
that's right.
there are stairs that circle around, that go up, and then there's a landing, and then go up to the second floor. And that's the only thing that's in that space behind the garage now: a washer, dryer, and those stairs.
Right. Yeah, you're correct, Dick. I missed that. They're getting rid of that space. So now it's become a laundry room and
Right.
stairway.
And now upstairs, above the garage, that bath, is that a full bath or is that a half bath? The
Pretty
thing
sure
that says bath, you know, where those steps are.
Pretty sure that's a full bath.
Hold on, I'm looking at the plan. Yeah, it is a full bath.
So this house now has 3 full baths and a half bath.
1, 2.
Yes.
Yes.
So now we have kind of that same problem. There's a full bath in that stairway area that's really distant from the bedrooms. And there's this thing called a great room that looks like a bedroom. So unless that is at least a 6-foot opening, I would have a concern that this is really a 4-bedroom house. I mean, why have a full bath way over there unless you're going to use that great room as a bedroom?
I don't think there's any issue with opening that up to 6 feet.
Well, that's what we asked for the previous variance, and I think you know, for this one it would be the same issue. It has to be clearly incapable of being used as a bedroom. Otherwise, it's a 4-bedroom house.
Carol, you have your hand up?
Yes, I was just wondering if we've heard anything from the abutters.
I have nothing in the file, but we will allow abutters to speak after the board discusses it.
Okay, thank you.
Further Board of Health questions or comments?
This is Noble.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if they can increase the casing to 6 feet, I think that would be great to make it less a bedroom. But just to step back from this particular thing, Judy said that a bedroom that opens to a room that opens to a garage is not a bedroom. But so I guess I drop back and say, and this is for the future, and just one quick thing. I again bring up the issue of whether we have concrete criteria for what is a bedroom, because it gets into the realm of subjective, really. But I agree with what Dick said. If they're willing to open this to a 6-foot casing, then I'm okay with the plan. And as I understand it, we don't count bathrooms in terms of bedrooms. I mean, it's not counted. I'm not sure I agree with it, but I think that's what's been done.
Right. But as with the last situation, we wanted to eliminate that full bathroom because it was just too obvious that it would be that room would be used as a bedroom. And the same situation occurs here. I mean, should that bathroom above the garage really be a half bath? Having it as a full bath is a bit of a problem. And if you're going to open it up to 6 feet, why don't you just open it up completely and not have a cased opening? Just have have it open. And the thing about the garage, I think, is if you have to walk through a room to get to the garage, then it's not have privacy anymore. It's a hallway. It's not so much that it opens into the garage. If you have to walk through a room to get to another room, then it's not a private room.
Right. So what are the specifications of this bathroom that's right outside of the great room? On my plans, it doesn't indicate.
I have a plan that Dan submitted today that shows a full bath. That bathroom that's on your plan, it's got a stall shower and a toilet and a double sink.
Well, I would concur with Dick's concerns then, because it's just inviting occupancy in the great room to a guest. What do other board members think?
Ron Broman, well, if we made the other fellow remove his shower, I don't know why we shouldn't do it on the same thing over here.
We gave them a choice to either remove the shower or remove the bathroom, or remove the wall, I think, the last time. They chose to do a 6-foot cased opening and take the shower out. So
that would be a good result here as well.
Dan, do you think your clients would go for that?
Let me just be clear. It sounds like remove the shower and open up the opening.
Yes.
I'm texting back and forth with the owner here. Let me just see what he's saying here.
Dan, if it's truly a great room, they don't need a shower.
Don't need what?
You don't need a shower adjacent to a great room.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, we've always looked at these things and so forth as, I mean, the bathrooms really don't matter. Most folks ask about, septic systems, and they're wondering how many bathrooms they can have. And we've always told them that bathrooms don't really matter. It's the bedrooms, because that's where you're allowed so many gallons per person per bedroom. But I can understand where you're coming from in this situation, because it kind of, the bathroom is related to the use of the room here. So, so I'm just trying to get, I think we're okay, but I'm just trying to text with the owner here. He's listening, but I'm not sure that he is muted or unmuted here.
If he's on the phone, he can unmute himself with *6.
*6, okay.
Maybe I can. It's Mr. Yazden-Seda?
Yes.
Yeah, I see his name, but I can't unmute him. He needs to unmute himself.
I'm texting him right now to unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Good.
I'm here with the architect also, and we have been listening. So he suggested that if we take that.
Let me go through one thing. The room next to the garage is not a room anymore. It's basically a laundry room, and also there's a stair that goes to the second floor. So it's basically it's a corridor there. The only thing left is the transition from the garage into the main house. Up above, the great room was pretty much for kids and things like to play around. That was the idea. It wasn't intended to be a bedroom there. That's why we call it great room. The cased opening, we could put a cased opening. I have the latest drawing shows a 5-foot cased opening. I mean, we can increase to 6 foot, or we can remove that wall if you guys want. The bathroom is just the bathroom, it's the needs for, people go to the beach and things like that. They go to the house, even if you have guests. And you only have, 2 bedrooms there. That was the idea behind that as well, to put a third bedroom there, bathroom. That was not the idea to put a bedroom there. That was the idea that, to the layout of the house, basically.
Well, I think, sir, that what we're looking for is for the bathroom to be a half bath, not a full bath. And for the width of the opening into the great room to be a minimum of 6 feet wide, or just remove the wall completely.
Yeah, I would have a problem with the walls, 6 foot to remove the wall. Just the only thing that, my opinion, I guess, the owners make the final decision. But that was just, again, just for people to use it, taking a shower, coming off the beach, basically. That was the idea.
We do allow outdoor showers.
No, I understand that. And I think we have a place for that as well.
Well,
I
this
can
is Richard
understand.
again. I think with the last person, we had said if they remove the entire wall, that would be sufficient, rather than a cased opening. If you remove the whole wall, then it could never really be closed up into a bedroom. And then if there was a shower there, it wouldn't concern me if the wall was totally removed.
Noble, did you want to say something?
That's an old hand, actually.
Okay. Carol, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with Dick that with the last house, we had told them to either remove the wall totally or make the case opening bigger. And if it's a great room, I don't know why you would need a wall there.
And then, Carol, in which case you'd be fine with the full bath?
Yeah, but the last house, they chose to make it a half bath instead of a full bath.
Right, but they kept a cased opening. If you remove the entire wall.
So if they removed the wall, I'd be okay with the full bath.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get at.
Dan, did you want to make another comment?
I did. I just wanted to comment because this is a fairly new situation for me where we're dealing with bathrooms and so forth. And I just wanted to comment that if you open up that whole wall, I can understand about the bathroom, but I just think that if you are okay with the full wall being open and allow that bathroom to remain, I think it's a fairly new situation for everybody. And I'm just concerned that if you start taking showers out and so forth when bathrooms have always been allowed, it may be a problem down the road for you. It's kind of what I'm thinking about. The fact that it's opened up, I kind of like that idea, and I'm hoping that you guys are all okay with it.
Other Board of Health members. Go ahead, Judy.
I was just going to say, I mean, for the board's sake, I am working on putting together some more explicit guidelines or definitions for bedrooms for us to consider at one of our next upcoming meetings to have a discussion about that to be a little bit more clarified. But I do believe, what Dan said is true, that we really haven't counted bathrooms. It's not been part of the definition and never has. So it is a little bit sticky to start doing that now. But I like the idea of removing the wall. I think it takes away any, ambiguity about the use of the room.
But just to point out, Judy, the board's concerns about bathrooms, it's not the number of bathrooms, it's the proximity to bathrooms as related to other designated space that's not named bedrooms.
Right.
So it means
I totally get it.
Yeah, it colors that interpretation when you put it right adjacent to a non-sleeping room. So, Board of Health members, what do people think about approving this with the understanding that the wall is removed completely and the bathroom can continue to be a full bathroom? Are people comfortable with that?
Yeah, this is Noble. Yeah, I think if they remove the wall and the bathroom remains the same, I'm okay with that. But I also fully agree with what Judy said, and also with what Dan said, that we need to have specific criteria for how we're deciding this, because in my own mind, I'm not clear on it. And I think the architects and the homeowners and the engineers need to know exactly what we're thinking. So I agree with Judy working on something.
Okay, good. So, can I get a motion from a board member that we accept the application with the understanding that the second floor great room wall be removed completely?
This is Noble. I make a motion that we accept the application for 16 Blueberry Lane with the stipulation that the wall is removed leading into the great room on the second floor.
Okay.
And Judy reads
I'll second it, Carol.
Judy reads the conditions.
Right. Carol, is that your second, Carol?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Judy, can you read the conditions into the record, please?
Yep. The applicant should restrict this property to a maximum of 3 bedrooms and record this restriction on the deed at the Barnstable County Register of Deeds. The applicant shall sign a covenant with the board agreeing to comply at such time as the town of Chatham through its Board of Health and/or Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners directs the connection of this property to the municipal sewer when it becomes available and is so ordered to connect by the Board of Health. This covenant and 3-bedroom deed restriction shall be recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, and a copy of the executed deed and covenant shall be submitted to the Board of Health. Throughout its life, the system shall be under an operation and maintenance agreement. The O&M agreement shall be for at least 1 year and may be with any mass certified operator of the appropriate grade that has received training by the company on the operation of the system. Effluent from the system shall be monitored at least twice per year for the first 2 years, preferably May and October. The effluent shall be field tested in accordance with Mass DEP standard conditions for secondary treatment units certified for general use. revised March 20th, 2015. In addition, a lab test of the effluent for total nitrogen to meet the performance standards of 19 milligrams per liter shall be collected and analyzed by a certified lab. Water meter readings are to be provided with the semi-annual report. If any of the field tests or lab tests fail, follow-up tests shall be conducted by a certified lab and an evaluation made by the operator within 30 days. After the required 2 years testing, application can be made by the board or its agent for review and possible modification of the monitoring requirements. The applicant agrees to apply to a minimum of 6 inches of compacted topsoil to all disturbed areas of the property. The engineer shall submit an engineered as-built plan, including as-built elevations with a written certification that the system has been installed in accordance with the approved plan. No alteration to the floor plan of the dwelling or the engineer's site plan will be allowed without further review by the Board of Health or its agent. This variance granted pursuant to State Environmental Code Title V and the Town of Chatham Subsurface Sewage Regulations is valid for 1 year from the date of the Board of Health approval. Permit must be issued and work commenced during the 1-year period or the variance shall expire.
Okay, thank you, Judy. Does anyone from the public wish to comment on this before the Board of Health votes on the motion? Okay, when I call your name, please. When I call your name, please indicate how you vote. Dr. Noble Hanson,
Approve?
Ron Broman,
Approve.
Ed Sheehan,
No.
Carol Boyce.
Approve.
I vote to approve. Dr. Richard Edwards,
Approve.
Carol Gordon,
Approve and look forward to Judy's analysis.
and what analysis? Oh, and the furthering of,
Yes.
yeah, she's gonna pursue that. That doesn't have to be in this motion, though.
That's true. Sorry.
That's okay.
I
All right,
approve.
so the motion, okay, so the motion is approved as made and seconded, and you're good to go, Mr. Speakman.
Hi, thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, making progress here. Agenda item number 4, a discussion and an update regarding the Chatham Airport property, Fisherman Supply Area, 240 George Ryder Road. We all received a notification from Judy before the meeting that this issue has come up. Judy, do you want to lead the discussion?
Well, I think Dr. Bob is on and he is going to present the what's going on with the town. But basically, we had a request from one of our townsfolk that the Board of Health look at the situation out there and discuss it at a Board of Health meeting. So here we are, and I think Bob has really an update on what's going on out there. And I believe you got today via email a memo from him with some information as to what the situation is. So I'll turn it over to Bob.
Okay, thank you. Bob?
Thanks, Judy. Thanks, John. So yeah, just well, quickly as it may or may not be. For several decades, the town has leased an area on the east side of the airport. It's on Chatham Airport property. And by that, I mean, remember, the property is owned by the town of Chatham, but it's under the care and custody, if you will, of the Airport Commission, as well as the FAA and the Mass Aeronautical Division. That area has been leased for 2 to 3, maybe 4 decades for fishermen to store their gear when it's not in the water, obviously. Things like lobster pots, traps, fishing nets, and whatnot. The idea being, by providing this area, it keeps it out of people's backyards, if you will. And, you know, we all know that when you put stuff in the water and it stays there for a length of time, things grow on it, and then you bring it out of the water and it dries out. And there can be odor issues and other concerns. And so this fisherman's storage area was created. Recently, as you probably know, the airport's been undergoing work on a new updated master plan, and as part of that, the FAA has conducted a number of different surveys at the airport. One of them was a wildlife enhancement survey, and it identified the fisherman's storage area as basically incompatible with airport operations, if you will. The concern basically was that the material there, because it had a lot of marine growth and all on it, could become an attractant for birds as well as other mammals, which in turn could attract birds and so on and so on. And so basically the FAA told the Airport Commission that is an incompatible use with the airport property and the airport operations and needs to be closed. So we've been dealing with this for about a little over a year or so in earnest. The Airport Commission originally was going to close it last fall. However, a variety of things, including COVID and some other things, resulted in their extending that closure until June 30th of this year. So the intent and letters have gone out to the number of fishermen that currently are permitted, and basically you have to already have, say, a permit to load and offload at the Chatham Fish Pier, or one of several other permits in order to be able to get a permit to use the fisherman's storage area.
Okay.
So the Airport Commission has sent out letters indicating the June 30th closure date and advising the fishermen that currently have it that they have to get all the material out of there by the end of June. If they do not, then the town will come in and clean it up and bill them for it. So that is currently underway. Material is being moved out of there. Now, part of the issue is, it's had a number of different users over the years. Some material, when other people left, they simply left it there. And so, it's kind of considered abandoned, if you will. And so the town's going to have to go in and do some cleanup in all likelihood. But a couple of other things have taken place, and these are the things that I highlighted in my memo. The Airport Commission wanted a barrier gate installed across the access road because right now anybody can basically drive into the area and basically dump anything they want. The area has been cleaned up a couple of times in the recent decade or so. The town's gone in on a couple of occasions and brought in dumpsters, and it's mostly metal type debris from fishermen and whatnot, but we've gone in a couple times and removed a lot of stuff that we knew was nobody kind of had ownership to anymore. So that barrier gate, we've contracted for that. It's being fabricated as we speak, and the fabricator has indicated installation on or around April 1st. In response to some concern expressed at a selectmen's meeting where this was discussed, we have contracted with Bennett Environmental over in Brewster to conduct a phase 1 environmental site assessment at the property. There was some concern expressed that there may have been storage or dumping of potentially hazardous materials there. So we brought Bennett in. They are going to do the first phase, the phase 1 environmental site assessment. And then we'll see if there's a need to go beyond that into a full-blown hazardous waste study. So we'll see what happens when that phase 1 is completed. And that should be completed on or around the end of April. And then we've also issued a request for letter proposals to 4 engineering firms because one of the things that we talked about with the Board of Selectmen last fall was the potential to relocate the fisherman's storage area to some other location in Chatham because the Selectmen wanted to continue to support the fishing industry. And obviously there was some concern expressed that, well, where are these guys going to go if they can't go here? And, as I said at the beginning, in the past, what would happen is material like this would be stored, in backyards or whatnot. and that could potentially create, neighbor issues. So wanting to avoid that, the selectmen asked staff to look at other potential locations in town. So Terry Eldridge and the GIS folks did a fairly sophisticated analysis of where we had property in town that might meet a whole series of criteria: enough space, no residential neighbors nearby, access and whatnot. And the upshot of that was really only one area was identified. And I'll share my screen here. And can everybody see the figure on the screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So basically the area that was identified is between the transfer station, which is on the right-hand side of this figure labeled number 97. Then you have the capped landfill, which is the solar array, kind of in the middle there. And then on the far left, you have the Commerce Park industrial area. Next to that, you have the wastewater treatment plant. And right in the middle there, that it's kind of in that red box, that is an area where years and years ago, they used to dump street sweepings and other kind of excess material, if you will. And so we identified that as a potential site to relocate the fisherman's storage area to. I hate to say it, but it really is kind of out in the middle of nowhere with, more industrial uses on either side. That little area directly to the north or to the upper part where you see kind of a cleared area and a bunch of what looks like debris around, that is actually a storage area for the harbor master. They store excess floats there. They store excess boats there. They store derelict boats that have been removed from town landings and whatnot, until either the owner claims them or we sell them at auction. So this area was identified as a future area for the fisherman's storage area, and we currently have an engineering proposal out. Those proposals are due this Friday to take a look at this area, see if in reality it will serve as a fisherman's storage area. It is good perking sandy soil. There's not a lot else there. We just have to be careful and not encroach upon the cap for the landfill. It is at a lower elevation than the landfill as well as the wastewater treatment plant. So we're looking at having to bring in an access road, which would go all the way out to Middle Road, which is kind of that curvy road at the top part of the figure. So that is also hopefully going to be underway here shortly. And then kind of the third big or the fourth big piece of this puzzle is funding to do the, if that area is determined to be appropriate for the storage area, it obviously will require some work in terms of grading and leveling it out, putting down a stone surface so that, you don't sink into the sand kind of thing, as well as bringing in an access road off Middle Road, which would be gravel. We don't need a paved surface or anything like that. And so we have a draft article for town meeting, which will be going to the Board of Selectmen for discussion tomorrow night. I'll be going to the Finance Committee on Wednesday. We asked for $200,000 to do this. Hopefully it will not cost as much. But at this point, we just don't know because the engineering hasn't been done. We also don't know how much the final cleanup over at the existing site may cost. So I used a figure of 200,000. So that hopefully will be coming up here at the May annual town meeting. So I think with that kind of brings you up to speed on where we are with the fisherman's storage area. And I'm happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Bob, this is John. When I walked over the property, one of the things that struck me was there was no way to identify who owned what. And I'm just curious as to when you consider proceeding with a new designated area, whether there ought to be a requirement that every fisherman put a sign up indicating, what he owned.
Yeah, the area is divided up into plots, and we do know who is responsible for each plot. There may not be any signs out there because, as you can probably imagine, a sign would probably last about 10 minutes before it's either knocked over or pulled out of the ground or whatever. But yeah, we do know who's responsible for each area, both currently as well as historically.
Okay, thank you.
I think Carol's got her hand up.
Yes, thank you. I was just wondering, and maybe I missed this part, but as far as cleaning up the, not the fishermen's traps and things like this, but I was over recently and there were propane tanks and washer dryers, things like this. Can we go in and clean that up through our DPW crew now and get that done before anything else?
We can certainly consider that. I know DPW is out straight because they are down quite a few folks on their staffing. So whether or not we'd go in now or just wait and clean all that up at the end, and basically only have to go into the site once. But we can certainly take a look at that.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Noble, actually, Dick, you had your hand up first.
Yeah, I had a question about that Harbor Master storage area. What's the access to that?
Actually, the access to that comes in from the wastewater treatment plant. You basically come in from the wastewater treatment plant. Let me pull that map up again and. I assume you can't see my cursor, correct?
No, I see it.
Okay, so basically you come in off the water pollution control road, you come up into the treatment plant, you go up in between the middle, between the two beds, you drive in there, and then there is actually a road through the trees, which kind of comes up over into the fisherman storage area. So that is that route. We decided that we didn't want, basically the public driving through the wastewater treatment plant. Right. And it is kind of tough getting, larger trailers and whatnot, through that kind of dirt road at the moment. That's why we were looking at bringing in a better looking road from Middle Road, if you will.
So actually, it would be simpler to make the Harbor Master storage area, the fisherman's storage area, and move the boats over inside that red area where they'd have quicker access. You wouldn't have to build a long road in from Middle Road.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why we're not going in that direction. The area of the Harbor Master storage area currently, that is an old capped animal landfill. That's where for decades DPW used to bury dead animal carcasses that were found along the side of the road. So DEP won't let us do anything else with that particular area because that area does have a cap on it. The other thing that we have to take into account is this area up here that's still heavily wooded. That is actually an area that is set aside for future expansion of the sand beds at the wastewater treatment plant. So while we may, it might make sense to just kind of come from this red lined area straight out to Middle Road, we probably won't be able to do that because we'd be going right through an area that is potential future sand beds. We'll probably have discussions with DEP about maybe doing something temporarily because I don't anticipate we'll need those sand beds for probably another 10 years at least. It's just a question of whether or not DEP would let us do something in an area that currently on paper at least is set aside for future expansion of the infiltration beds. So we're trying to take all those things into account in trying to locate an area and make it accessible.
We also from the south. From the water pollution control road?
The problem with the south is the grade is so steep. It's about a 30 to 35 foot drop between the water pollution control road and the lower portion of this kind of area. And it also gets more narrow because of the angle of the landfill. So right now, that's not a great option because you need to have an access road that would have to go so far in and require quite a bit of fill and whatnot to get a road that would work. But those are the kind of issues that we've asked the engineers to evaluate what is, the best way to in and out, as well as how big an area that we can get in here. And so how many fishermen would we be able to accommodate? Because most of them currently have about a 5,000 square foot area, say 50 by 100. There's a limited amount of space in here. So that's one of the things we've asked them to do is figure out how many of these plots could we fit in there. And we're also talking with the fishermen that are, interested, do they need 5,000 square feet? Could they use a smaller plot, which then would allow us to accommodate more fishermen? So still a substantial work in progress.
But it sounds to me like this is largely going to be solved pretty soon.
That's the goal because, like I say, the airport commission needs everybody out of there by June 30th. So.
Okay.
This is Noble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bob, so who actually does the permitting and watches over the area and makes sure it doesn't become a dumping area again and it's efficiently used for storage? Because it is a really good thing for the fishermen because they can use it as an alternative to neighborhood storage.
Yep. It's under the jurisdiction of the harbor master's office. And the biggest problem in the past is there was no gate at the existing site. And so we had actually gotten funding a couple of years ago in natural resources to put a gate across. And then when the whole thing with the FAA came up and, it was facing closure, we said, well, we don't want to spend the money to put a gate on and, only have it for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. But now the new location will be gated right from the get-go. And we will have, it'll be a little bit more visible because of where it is. It'll be more easily visible from the wastewater treatment plant side and whatnot. So I don't think we'll have the same kind of issues that may have occurred in the past. At least that's our intent.
That sounds good. And then I did walk the current fisherman storage area, and on the back of it, towards the pond there's a house that almost looks like it's abandoned. Is the access to that house through the storage area, or it looks like it's there's an area there that's separate from the storage area, which has also been used for storage.
Yeah, there is a property back there that, is in less than pristine condition, if you will. And this is one of those ones that we kind of, hinted at when we talked about, discussions about 32 Mill Hill Road, that we were aware of other locations in Chatham. But that property's access is actually off George Ryder Road up at basically the north end of the airport.
Okay.
It's a dirt road.
Yeah.
I think it's a dirt road.
Yes.
Because when they clean up, they'll have to decide what belongs to that property, what's on that property and what's on the fisherman's storage property, because it's.
Yeah, no, we know where. Yeah, we know where the property line is. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Good. All right. Good report, Dr. Bob. Any other questions or comments from Board of Health members?
I have one more question, please.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I was just wondering how close the proposed fisherman's storage area is to if we do get affordable housing on Middle Road. What would that proximity be?
Let me do a quick. I'd say you're probably 550, 600 feet away from Middle Road. So, Middle Road takes a curve there, and so it depends on where you take the measurement, but probably 500 or 600 feet away. And the fisherman's storage area is at a lower elevation as well. So,
Okay.
all right.
Thank you.
We have a hand up from the audience. John, are you ready for that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Looks like Paula Lofgren.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair, and also Dr. Duncanson for helping to find a solution for the fishermen and the airport. The land use violation report came during my time on the commission a number of years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you alluded to a warrant article that would help for the engineering and also for the new space, but am I correct in saying that part of that warrant article would pay for the cleanup of the airport property?
Yes, potentially. I mean, that's why it was worded broadly enough that we could theoretically use it wherever we needed funding. Yeah.
Okay. The follow-up question is that even though the airport property belongs to the town, the care of that property is under the jurisdiction of the Airport Commission. And at the last select board meeting, the airport revolving fund was allotted an increase of spending to $150,000. So I was wondering if part of the plan was to have the Airport Commission assist in the payment of the cleanup of the environmental assessment, the gate that is along their property, and also for any work that needs to be done once the assessment is over.
I am not aware that there's been conversations like that, but there very well could have. I was just asked about 3 weeks ago to jump in and make this all happen as quickly as possible. So I don't know what conversations have taken place relative to the airport revolving fund and its involvement or not. So can't answer that one for you.
Yeah, and thank you very much for helping to us solve this this dilemma. Thank you.
Another question from, I think it's Elaine.
Yes, thank you very much. I really apologize. I got on late, so you may have discussed it, but in terms of the cleanup of the air conditioners and the machinery and the propane tanks and those kinds of things, what is the timetable on doing that and soil testing? I apologize if you've already answered it, but I missed it.
The Airport Commission has indicated the current area has to be closed by June 30th. So I wouldn't, the fishermen had been put on notice to get all their stuff out of there before then. And I suspect that anything that remains on June 30th, the town will be undertaking that cleanup as expeditiously as possible thereafter. Right now, there is no soil testing planned. That will be determined based on the results of the phase 1 environmental site assessment that's already started as to whether or not soil testing is recommended based on the findings from the first phase study.
So is it your belief that all of that stuff that's there was brought in by the fishermen? Because I have a feeling the one area that looks like it's the fishermen are all the lobster pots, and it's all very neat. Everything else seems like it's been there for years and dumped by other people because there were no gates. And I seriously doubt anyone's going to take that. I mean, it is potentially hazardous waste, and it seems to me that you'd want to get that out of there sooner rather than later. So, I mean, that's why I asked for it to be on the agenda so that we didn't have to wait until town meeting or later on to get that cleaned up. It was supposed to be done in 2017. And I believe it's gotten worse since then, because when the FAA did that report in 2015 and there was a remedial plan, it didn't indicate anywhere near the amount of stuff that's been dumped there over the last 5 years. So is that a no?
I can only speak to what I already have underway, Lane. I can't tell you what may have been done in the past or what's going to go forward. And
I guess I just have a problem when this is town property and we are so concerned about private residences and their property, and we've allowed this to happen. And clearly people have known about it. The airport must have known about it and the town must have known about it, and it has been allowed to occur. And I think it should be a priority and come out of, what is that? The uninsured damage account that I believe we have that is for cleanup on town property. And I don't see why those hazardous things that you know are hazardous can't be taken out, as soon as possible. Those are my comments. I don't get our priorities, but thank you.
Any more questions for Dr. Duncanson? If not, let's move the agenda. Thank you for all of those who commented. Let's go to item number 5, which is an update discussion regarding John McGrath's property at 32 Mill Hill Road. Dr. Duncanson, it's you again.
Okay. Yep. The update since your last meeting is we received 4 proposals to undertake the cleanup in response to the RFP that we'd sent out. They ranged in price from, let me just grab my bid tab here. The price proposals ranged from a high of $56,350 down to a low of $28,000. And the time estimate for the cleanup ranged from 3 days to 7 days. So we have identified the low bidder, which was Robert Childs and Company. And we are in the process of getting them signed up, getting the contract signed, and then getting their schedule to get the work done as quickly as possible. So that is in the works. And I think you all saw that the Traffic Safety Committee had agreed with the board's recommendation to post that area along 32 Mill Hill Road as no parking. And that has been sent, their recommendation then has been sent over to the Board of Selectmen to get on the Selectmen's schedule to get that basically made official, if you will, because obviously it takes the vote of the Board of Selectmen to make an area no parking. So hopefully that, I haven't seen that scheduled on the board select board's agenda yet. I know they're very busy with the budget and warrant articles and whatnot, but I expect it would be soon. And as soon as I have that notification, I will let the board know that it's coming up for discussion with the Board of Selectmen. But the,
What about
yeah.
What about the guardrails?
They did recommend, let me just see here. The Traffic Safety Committee voted 4-0 to recommend the installation of no parking signs on Mill Hill Road from Meeting House Road to Dusty Miller, and to recommend installation of a guardrail in consultation with DPW. So they basically supported both your recommendations.
Very good.
So that is the latest update on that. You guys were aware that we also have an article pending at town meeting for nuisance remediation, correct? We'd already touched on that one because that went to the Board of Selectmen back in February.
Yeah, I think you copied us on that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was $150,000 for nuisance remediation. So that is in the works.
Good progress, Dr. Bob.
So Bob?
Yeah.
That $28,000 will remove everything from the edge of the road back about 10 feet to the edge of the town property.
Yes, that will remove
Everything will
everything,
be removed.
everything within the road right-of-way layout. Yes, that is correct.
And then anything beyond that will be for future discussion. You know, if there's still a nuisance. And if new trash arrives in that area after it's cleaned up, do we have any plan for how to deal with that? So, I mean, if we spend $28,000, they clean everything up, and a week later there's a refrigerator sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that we can do about that?
There has been discussion at the staff level among the various staff in town about a potential blight bylaw or something to that effect, which would give the town the ability to maintain those things. There has also been discussion about posting it no dumping as well as the no parking. Those discussions are still underway with town council and all as the kind of the best way to address those various issues. But yeah, I think we're all concerned about, you know, how long does it stay looking good after we do this first removal? Yeah.
Bob, there's no way to do any surveillance camera work out there, is there?
We could look into something like a game camera, you know, that they're used pretty successfully to look for game going into various areas and trails and all. We could look at something like that. You know, any kind of surveillance, you know, say 24/7 live camera would be difficult, you know, because that would be expensive to run cable and all down there and whatnot. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. More questions from Board of Health members or comments?
Yeah, this is Noble. So in terms of the time course again, so you're in the process of signing Childs to a contract.
Yep.
And then how long before he might start? Any idea?
I don't have any idea from them yet.
And then the other aspect is we need to send a letter to McGrath, I guess informing him of the date of cleanup, and he needs some sort of amount of time ahead of that, probably. And so that's another aspect of the thing.
Yes. They have to do the work within 21 days of award of the contract. And then once they know when they're going to schedule it, they have to let us know so that we can then turn around and send the letter to Mr. McGrath saying, as of such and such a date, you know, we're going to be coming in there with a contractor to clean it up. And that gives him kind of one last opportunity to get anything out of there that he wants to keep.
And do we know what amount of time we have to give Mr. McGrath for that letter? Because it sounds like it might have to be coordinated.
Yeah, we wanted to give him at least a week.
1 week, okay.
Yeah.
Since we're not going on his property, we probably don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, we're cleaning up town property. We can clean up town property anytime we want.
Right.
So this isn't going on to his property and taking anything that's, you know, so I don't think we want to get very concerned about how much notice he needs.
Carol,
you
go
could
ahead,
almost-
comment?
Yeah.
Yes, hi. Thank you for all you're doing. I'm glad it's moving along. And I was just wondering, one thing is I thought that McGrath only needed 24 hours before we went out to clean it up. I thought that was one. And my second question is, I drove by today and Mill Hill Road is worse than ever. I don't know if you've been there lately, but across the street, it's almost like McGrath is moving things across the street because the Bassett's have a sign up saying clean fill wanted. And it's amazing. It's so you may want to go over and just check it out yourself. Certainly to get started, cleaning up one side of the road is going to be fabulous. And it's just very interesting how these two are perhaps working together. But you can go take a look for yourself, but it'll be wonderful when Childs gets out there and starts cleaning things up. Thank you.
Carol Boyce?
Yeah, I had a question. How soon do you think the contract will be signed? So are we saying by the end of March, it should be all done? What time frame are we looking?
I just got the draft contract the end of last week. I was going to turn it around probably tomorrow and get it over to Childs. I would expect that, they will be, it's a fairly standard contract. I would expect they will be able to turn around fairly quickly. And then it's just a question of scheduling, for them, their staff and equipment and whatnot. I would think optimistically, maybe by the end of March or the very beginning of April, provided, we don't get another blizzard and 3 feet of snow kind of thing.
Okay.
Well, that sounds terrific.
Okay.
Any more questions for Dr. Bob?
Yeah, this is Noble. Just one quick. The traffic committee, it sounds like they're putting the no parking and the guardrail, but they're excluding a certain area for his access. He may have a driveway there that's full of junk that they might not post or guardrail, but that driveway junk is something that the cleanup will have to be something we address in the future. That's all.
Anybody from the public want to comment on this agenda item before the board moves? All right, if we're all done, let's go to item number 6, which is an update and a discussion regarding COVID-19 with Dr. Duncanson.
Okay,
Again.
this is the easy one. Let me share my screen here quickly. So this was our monthly case count. This is through the end of February. This was the one that was done for the Board of Selectmen last week. We had 21 cases this February we had 22 cases this February compared to 41 cases last year. So the trends are definitely going in the right direction. Let me show you the weekly case count, which I think is a little bit more informative now. I've been doing basically a 10-week running period lately. So you can see we've lost kind of the end of November, beginning of December. We're starting at basically Christmas Day. And we had the high counts during Christmas and New Year's and then immediately thereafter. But we've been down very low for the last 4 weeks, averaging 3 to 4 cases each week, which is down significantly from when we were up close to 50 cases a week back in the beginning of January. So, again, things are going in the right direction. Our percent positivity is also continuing to go in the right direction. As you can see, we're below that kind of 5% threshold, which was an indication of widespread community transmission. We were down to 3.2% as of last Thursday. Keep in mind, again, this data only comes out once a week, and it's for the 2 weeks prior. So, we're starting to see now exactly what we saw in our weekly case counts, where about 4 weeks ago, things started to drop off, fairly dramatically. We were the 4th lowest town on the Cape last week, as of last Thursday. We were at 3.21. The statewide 14-day percent positivity was 2.32, and Barnstable County was 4.5. So we were less than the county, but not quite as low as the statewide average. And then the same thing on the average daily incident rate. Again, a fairly substantial drop off there as well. We're now down to 7.4, and that also was the 4th lowest on the Cape. The state was at 16.1 and Barnstable County was at 13. So we were, significantly lower than both of those. And as you can see, the peak of the Omicron surge, it's just been a dramatic slide back to, low levels that hopefully we will see continue to go forward. The board as you're aware, the board has removed all your mask mandates for any properties in Chatham. for any indoor properties. The school mask mandate has been lifted by the state and was also lifted by Monomoy Regional School District last Monday. So masks are no longer required in the schools except in school nurse's office. And it's also important for the public to keep in mind that masks are still required in medical offices, long-term care facilities, and on public transportation. And those are the only areas predominant pretty much around the country, although some cities still have theirs, but more and more are dropping them. Boston dropped theirs on Saturday, so more and more places are dropping mask mandates. We still have a fair number of COVID-19 home test kits that are available to the public. So if the public has not picked theirs up yet, please feel free, come into the annex between 9 and 3, Monday through Thursday, and you can pick up one home test kit for each member of your household. And we will continue to make those available until we run out. So that's all I have for this week.
Bob, is the board, can we as a board begin meeting in person again?
Yes, you can. The Board of Selectmen, I thought they were going to be sending something out. I haven't seen anything from the board yet. But basically, they are going to hybrid meetings, meaning the Board of Selectmen are basically in the meeting room. Staff can still log in remotely just because their meetings tend to be later at night and so long. But yes, it's basically up to each board to decide if they want to go back to in-person meetings or continue remote or continue a hybrid option where, say, the board is maybe in the room with members of the public and all still calling in or linking in through Teams. So yes, that's up to your discretion.
Do board members want to have that discussion right now?
This is Ron Broman. I think we should go back into the hybrid right now and then see what happens. And then we can go to a full meeting, the townspeople can also come in, but I'd rather see a hybrid to start with and then go to a full one after.
What do other board members think?
Well, this is Dick Edwards. I would be happy to have a hybrid meeting or even a full in-person meeting at this time.
Yeah, this is Carol Gordon. I agree with that. I would like to have an in-person meeting as well.
What about Noble? What do you think?
Well, this is Carol, and I'm all for an in-person meeting and even letting the public in.
I think I would agree with that, actually. Noble, are you on the call still?
Yeah, I was muted. Yeah, I'm for a hybrid meeting. I had a question. If you say hybrid meeting, can the public come into the meeting and sit down if they want to, or they can log in virtually if they want to? Is that correct with a hybrid meeting?
Yeah, with a hybrid meeting, yes, the public can attend in person if they want to, but they would also have the option to log in through Teams or call in, through the phone.
Right. So I would be in favor of a hybrid meeting.
Yeah, let's go one step at a time. If I can weigh in and authorize future meetings to be hybrid, and then with the hope that at some point thereafter we can go to complete in-person down the road. Is this a consensus thing, or do we want to vote on this? I'm hearing board members are open to this.
I guess that's a procedural question. Did Judy or Bob know the answer? We have to vote, or is it just a consensus?
I don't think you'd have to take a formal vote on this. It's more procedural.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Judy. Once the board members are there, I was just informed from our Chatham 18 that once the board members are in, we have to allow the public in. We can still do hybrid as well. So
I think that
just wanted to clarify that.
All right, thank you. I think that makes the most sense. Does anybody on the board object to moving in that direction, starting with our next meeting? Okay, so we have clearly a consensus to move that in that direction, starting with the next regularly scheduled meeting. Okay, good. Any more questions or comments on the COVID-19 update? All right, let's go to item 7, which is the update and discussion on the Chatham water quality. You have anything for us, Dr. Bob?
Nothing really for this one. We continue, the contractor, the engineer are continuing to work on the temporary PFAS removal construction at well number 5. The vessels have been ordered. The granular activated carbon has been ordered. They're still expected to arrive sometime in April. And then they're going to work right away on getting those connected up. They have done the soil borings out at the site of the permanent facility off Training Field Road. So that design is continuing to move forward, as well as the design for the new wells pumping capability up at wells 10 and 11 has also moved forward. That one is pretty well completed. It's basically in permitting at this point. The other one is a little bit further, behind, but moving quite along pretty well. So everything is still on track. Hopefully the temporary facility is up and running. Well, not hopefully, it will be up and running for this summer. It's just going to be a question of exactly when that will occur. So yeah, and the latest set of test results for PFAS showed, the previous set that we had showed some higher levels in the 20 range out of wells 5 and 8. They have dropped back down a little bit in the latest set of test results back in the, just looking at it real quick here, latest set had us back in the 16 to 19 range. So whatever the kind of blip was that we saw in wells 5 and 8, where we had a couple of samples in January, early January, above 20, that has now dropped down. So, and well number 4 continues to be non-detect, which is great news. Well number 4 is only being pumped maybe 2 to 3 hours a day this time of the year, just to keep up with demand. But hopefully that continues to be that non-detect as we move forward here and start pumping things more in the spring. Groundwater levels are still exceedingly low. They have started to go up a little bit, but they unfortunately they started out so low to begin with. Even though they're going up, they're still not going up to the normal levels we would see this time of the year. So it will take a lot more rain and snow melt, which we haven't gotten a lot of snow, but a lot more rain through the spring to get us in a decent shape for going into summer. So that's all I have for today.
Any questions for Dr. Duncanson on water quality? Okay, we have some business things to attend to, which relate to approval of 2 sets of minutes. Board members received these in their packets. Does anybody, let's start with February 7th. Anybody have any edits or corrections for the draft minutes from February 7th? If not, can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to
Noble,
approve.
motion.
Ron Broman.
A second, Noble.
Okay, so Ron motion, Noble second. When I call your name, please indicate how you vote on the motion to accept the minutes for February 7th. Dr. Hanson.
Accept.
Ron Broman.
Approve.
Ed Sheehan.
Yes.
Carol Boyce.
Accept.
I vote yes. I vote to accept. Dr. Edwards.
Accept.
Carol Gordon.
I accept.
Okay, good. That motion passes and the minutes of February 7th are now accepted. Let's move on to the minutes for February 14th. Any corrections or edits? If none, can I get a motion to accept the minutes of February 14th?
Motion to approve, Ed Sheehan.
Thank you, Ed. Can I get a second?
Noble, second.
Okay, when I call your name, please indicate how you vote on the motion to accept the minutes of February 14th. Dr. Hanson,
Accept.
Ron Broman,
Approve.
Ed Sheehan,
Yes.
Carol Boyce.
Accept.
I vote to accept. Dr. Richard Edwards
Accept.
and Carol Gordon.
I accept.
Okay, I think we are done with our meeting. Does any board member wish to raise any last minute issue? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Noble, motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
Ed Sheehan, second.
Thank you, gentlemen. When I call your name, please indicate how you vote on the motion to adjourn. Dr. Hanson,
Accept.
Ron Broman,
Approve.
Ed Sheehan,
Yes.
Carol Boyce.
Yes.
I vote yes. Dr. Richard Edwards,
Yes.
Carol Gordon.
Yes.
All right, we are done for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and have a good couple of weeks.